Episode 115, There's a Lot of Blood. Baekmang-ji's expression as he looked at me contained many emotions. Fear, surprise, excitement, anger. The first thing that came out was surprise. You're this young? The first time you almost died from my sword, you probably thought I was an evil Soma. He said he was mistaken. If it weren't for extreme Soma, I wouldn't have been able to swing the sword this fast. Hey, old man. The politeness towards him was omitted. I don't know what his life was like. But the moment I cut down Samrang here today, the reason to respect him disappeared. Did you say we were playing with ghosts? You're playing with ghosts right now, right? What did you say just now? Why are you crawling out of the grave and interfering in the affairs of future generations? You even earned the name Jianwang during your time. Was that not enough? As soon as I hit the nail on the head, the air around me became cold. But I was feeling the heat. It was the heat of extreme Soma slowly putting on his mask properly behind his back. I could tell what he was feeling without even looking into his eyes. Yes, there are things you can know without saying or seeing. Look at you, young junior. If you have such a bad way of speaking to adults, how can you use it? Old man, you're going to kill me anyway, so it's too shameless to expect you to be polite, right? Actually, if you were shameful, you wouldn't have cut those young juniors, right? He smoothed his trimmed beard as the air around him grew colder. I made his flesh grow even more. If a disciple gets old and gets into a power struggle, you, the master, should have stopped him. What are you going to do if he crawls out as if he was waiting? Are you both senile? Baekmang-ji's face turned slightly red. Yeah, get excited. Be more excited. I shouted to the Bisane and apostles standing far away. Let's send these old guys back to history. This meant that we would take charge of this part, so take charge of the sarcophagus. Hope bloomed in Bisane's eyes that were once filled with despair. If we were in charge of Baekmang-ji, this fight would have been worth it. On the other hand, Co Guanchu's expression was stiff. I would have never dreamed that such a variable would arise in a matter that even involved a master. Baekmang-ji asked coldly. Who are you? The person who will take the old man missing from the list to the underworld. At that moment, Baekmang-ji drew his sword as quickly as lightning. Flash! I barely avoided the flying sword. Baekmang-ji's attack was fast and powerful. That moment. Peeing! The blood clot of the extreme Soma was released. Baekmang-ji twisted his body to avoid it, and my sword pierced him. In an instant, we clashed and the four apostles and the Bisane also rushed at Sarek Guanchu. I decided to fight without worrying about the evil Soma. In the first place, I had never fought with him in unison, and I judged that if I tried to do a clumsy joint attack while dealing with Baekmang-ji, I would be at a disadvantage. I believed in extreme Soma. You'll figure it out. They will intervene on their own, avoid them on their own, and help you on their own. You will fight well on your own. Therefore, I fought with the mindset of fighting Baekmang-ji one-on-one. Visor! Once again there was a clash. His swift sword was too fast for the Apostle 13 Rangers to catch it. Even extreme Soma is an attack that is not easy to avoid continuously. If you see it with your own eyes and stop it, it is already too late. I had to stop it with experience and instinct. He attacks the left, so I have to attack the right. The moment you think like this, your head will be cut off. Baekmang-ji, who only focused on speed, became flashy. This sudden change was so threatening. But I managed to block his attack. I tried not to be discouraged by him. While exchanging herbal food, the blood clot of extreme Soma was released. Because our movements were so fast, the blood vessels were released very carefully. Because if I make a mistake, I could be right. Even though it was a battle between Lee and Illinois, Baekmang-ji was not pushed back at all. He was showing through his skills what it meant to be named Jianwang 80 years ago. Swordsmanship is a swordsmanship, but Baekmang-ji's footwork was also spectacular. If I hadn't learned Punction Sabo, I would have been completely trampled by this method. He fought with me as if trying to avoid being attacked by blood, but each step was incredibly flexible. When about 100 seconds had passed, Baekmang-ji, who was exchanging swords, suddenly unleashed his power. It was a really varied attack, but fortunately, I was able to use my energy and block it in time. Boom! As tension and tension met, a loud noise erupted like an explosion. We pushed each other backwards. The aerodynamic strength was almost similar. If it weren't for the 10,000 years of black racia that I had recently taken, I would have lost to him in terms of internal skills. When we got away from each other like that, we had time to talk. I don't want to be surprised, but I can't. How on earth can someone have such deep inner strength at that age? I spoke to him happily. Friend, don't you know me? What? I returned to old age. For a moment he thought I was someone he knew. Who? Who is it? A young junior with a nasty speaking habit. Why do you ask who I am when I don't have any friends? Only then did Baekmangji realize that I had ridiculed him. His expression distorted. You have to provoke him whenever you get the chance. As always, the one who gets excited loses the fight. The sword energy was released from his excited sword for the first time. Love it! It was the moment I had been waiting for. Boom! The sword energy I released collided with the sword energy that flew in, and an explosion of laughter erupted. Without missing this opportunity, Extreme Evil Soma unleashed blood and demonic explosive fields in succession. Since it is a fight between 2 and 1, this fight is in our favor. I continued to pour out the Yonchen Sik, which is a sword energy release ceremony. Extreme Evil Soma also continuously released blood and magic bullets. Baekmangji swung his sword like crazy and released tension to relieve it. Heavy drinking erupted one after another. Boom! Boom! Kwang! Boom! The earth shook and dust rose up. In the midst of this tremendous battle, Suk Guan Chu and the secret priest, Apostle 13, also stopped fighting and watched the result. When the attack stopped and the dust settled, we were shocked. He was standing fine. And the season of Sword Emperor created by anger. SSSSSSS. The sword in front of him was splitting into sword-shaped sword energy. I could tell that they are going to kill everyone here in one day. That they are planning to kill the 4 apostles and the Bisane and deal with us with Sarak Guanchu. A black magic sword rose in front of my chest and began to split. Sesusat. The 7th type of Baishan sword technique, Yuchen Sik. Is it because of the achievement of the 12 stars? It split up much faster and in larger numbers than before. Baekmangji's sword energy flew towards everyone here. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Shoot! At the same time, my sword energy was released as well. The next moment, a spectacular sight unfolded. 2 types of lines embroidering space. A line to kill and a line to protect. The moment those 2 lines intersected, a series of explosions of sword energy clashing with sword energy erupted. Bisane saw. The sword of Baekmangji flew towards his face. The flying speed was so fast that even if you tried to avoid it, you couldn't avoid it. However, my sword energy flew faster and tore that sword energy apart, destroying it before my eyes. Boom! The same was true for the other 13 apostles. The sight of the sword energy flying at him being torn apart by another sword energy was a sight that would be difficult to see again in one's life. Boom! 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 Kwong! Boom! Extreme Soma destroyed his sword energy on his own. I believed that would be the case and did not block his sword skills. When all the flying sword energy disappeared, the dust had completely settled. The appearance of Baekmangji was visible. His eyes were full of murder, a mixture of disbelief, surprise, and anger. Suk Guanqiu was surprised and embarrassed. Because I never imagined that Master's secret season would be blocked. On the contrary, the eyes of Bisane and apostles were full of surprise as they looked at us. It was more than surprise, it was closer to awe. This time, I rushed towards Baekmangji first. If you do your best, I will do my best. If you die, only you will die, but if I die, so many people will die. I poured everything into my sword. Dozens of numbers were exchanged in an instant. Blood splattered from each other's bodies. There was no time to check where and how the cut was made. The fact that blood was splattered even though he was wearing the Gyup Punchin Jamsa and the robe meant that if he had not worn it, he might have already been cut in several places. As I held on and held on, I could sense Baekmangji's nervousness. When was the last time he had such a long fight? 50 years ago? 70 years ago? Maybe there won't be a fight this hard. After he became the Sword Emperor, no one would have dared attack him. Extreme Soma's help in this fight was absolute. Our fight was so fast that I didn't intervene carelessly, but when I thought it was certain, I threw a bloody tantrum. When I was in danger, Hyolangji saved me. One timely bloodshot changed the course of the fight and gave me a chance. In the end, Baekmang changed his strategy and tried to kill the evil Soma first. The moment I realized my desire to kill the extremely evil Soma, I started pushing back like crazy. If you give it a chance, Extreme Soma will die. That was the only thought. I didn't want to lose Extreme Soma in this fight. I didn't want this old man to die. Even if you kill me, I will kill you. You damn old man. This earnest desire created an amazing phenomenon. In my field of vision, everything disappeared and only Baekmangman was visible. It was like Baekmang was moving in front of me, wearing a white robe, alone against a black background. All other appearances were invisible. All sound was blocked. I could only hear my voice and the sound made by Baekmang. It was my first amazing experience since learning martial arts. The moment when Baekmang's sword and my sword collided and sparks flew. There was another change. Now even Baekmang has disappeared, and only his sword is moving in my eyes. Only my sword was visible. Perhaps as time passes, even this sword will no longer be visible. Baekmang's sword began to be seen more and more clearly. My eyesight, which had been brightened by the new eye surgery, was finally starting to take effect. It's not that he slowed down or that I got faster. I was the first to adapt to this speed. My eyes have adapted. I only saw the sword, but I saw Baekmang again. I see his face. Now I can finally see it. What he's having a hard time with. What he regrets. What he fears. And saw. The only flaw in the perfect person. The moment I recognized it, I had already put my dark heart into action. My sword and body were one. Sigh. The moment my sword pierces Baekmang heart. Vision returned to normal. As the darkness around me disappeared, I began to see my surroundings. There were already several holes in Baekmang body, and blood was flowing from them. This was the place where blood clots hit the mark. I don't know when Baekmang was hit by it. Baekmang fought so well even though he took two of us with him. Surprise, astonishment, futility and fear. I slowly pulled out my sword, looking down at his final gaze filled with all kinds of emotions. I was so tired and exhausted that I had nothing to say to him. Blood spurted out from his heart and Baekmang fell dead. If he had not achieved the 12 stars, he would have lost this battle. Even if we hadn't joined forces with Extreme Soma, we would have died. In Murim, there are such monster-like squadron masters. It is in the Murim Alliance, it is in the main church, and it is also in the Apostolic Alliance. Old masters who have hardened like fossils and then suddenly pop out and try to ignite a final spark. That's why Murim is so scary. Oh my gosh, I'm going to die. I lay down on the spot. It took so much mental energy that I didn't have the strength to even lift a finger. It really felt like I couldn't move unless someone stabbed me with a sword. I couldn't help but say, oh my god. Extreme Soma also flopped down next to me. I could see his chin under my mask. I could see blood hardening under my chin. Are you hurt? Just a light scratch. You must be ugly, but you shouldn't hurt your face. He chuckled, as if he hadn't even thought about saying something like that in this situation. Do you want to laugh even after fighting so hard? When an opportunity comes, you shouldn't miss it. The scientist bleeds a lot. I'm dying from pain. Extreme Soma pressed the blood vessels and stopped the bleeding in the arms, legs, stomach, and shoulders. When I started this journey, did I ever imagine that there would be a moment when he would stop the bleeding of my wounds? How did the fight go over there? In response to my question, Extreme Soma turned his head, looked at the area where the fight was going on for a while, and spoke to me. It's almost over. Seeing as they haven't said anything about needing help, it looks like Bisane is winning. We looked at the sky in silence for a moment. Then I spoke first. Thank you. After a moment, Extreme Soma spoke. Thank you. We just said thank you to each other. No other words were added. Because there was no need to do it. I'll buy you a new mask. Please buy me something better. If you wear that mask for a long time, you get sweaty. Of course. It was right then. Aya. I heard a scream as someone's life was taken. When I looked up, I saw that the swords of the Bisane and the 3 apostles were stuck in the body of the stone coffin. During the fight, 2 more apostles were lying on the ground as if they had been sacrificed. Wicked people never go to the underworld alone. I sat up. Bisane walked towards me. I stood a little distance away and looked at Baek Mang-ji's body. It seems like he can't believe we killed him. He bowed his head and greeted me. He bowed his head to me for the first time. Thanks to you, I survived. I smiled and told him. Thanks to you, I almost died. He didn't laugh. He spoke while still holding the sword dripping with blood with his eyes full of determination. I planned to go straight down this road to kill Suk Guanchio's grandson. He was more polite than he had ever dealt with me before. And he was taking my advice well. The testimony of our 13 apostles will be sufficient as evidence. Be sure to create an apostolic alliance that communicates that. See you next time then. Bisane bowed his head and said hello. The Bisane I first met and the Bisane I am now are completely different people. As they collected their comrade's body and left, Extreme Soma asked. For the sake of our school, isn't it necessary to appoint someone even more idiotic than that Bisane as our successor? I guess so. But why did you help that person? It started because Suk Guanchu's grandson was a piece of trash, but he responded to Extreme Soma like this. But it's not fun if the other person is too much of an idiot, right? Extreme Soma laughed. He probably thinks the same thing. The stronger the opponent, the more fiery he became. Are we going to? Ah, my legs hurt so I can't walk. Please carry me. Don't be harsh. The other leg is limping right now. Extreme Soma and I left there, walking side by side. In the place where we left, only the faint moonlight illuminated the cold, cooling appearance of older and older desires. Episode 116. Why are you whispering? The woman pounding hard on the sledgehammer was none other than Ian. She was working in a small iron shop making agricultural tools such as hoes and scythes. She was dexterous and quickly learned the job, quickly producing a fairly good quality hoe. This was the safe house of the Heavenly Demon Church. There were many different types of safe houses. There were hidden safe places where people could not reach, and there were places disguised as ordinary places where many people came and went. At that time, someone entered there. I eat and work. When I turned around, I saw that Qianhua Luju had brought some food. Thank you. Ian did most of the iron work, and Qion Waruju was in charge of preparing the meals. Because Qiongmian was wearing a mask, he moved secretly without being seen. Ian asked, looking at Tranhua Ruju's attire. Where are you going? It was Qion Waruju, who usually wore ordinary woman's clothes and a headscarf. But today, I was wearing makeup and pretty clothes. No, I just tried it on for a change. The rule was that it was absolutely impossible to go out as long as you were in the safe house. Ian could tell that today is a special day for her. Is it your birthday today? No. Just had a nice dream. Now, hurry up and eat before it gets cold. Yes, thank you very much. Ian started using chopsticks. Please eat together. I ate a few pieces while cooking and I was full. Eat a lot. I think you really have natural cooking skills. It's much more delicious than buying it. Actually, when I first started this job, I worked in the kitchen. Oh, I see. I went through a lot of hardships back then. Ian could feel it. That the experience of struggling from the bottom made her successful. The food was delicious, but Ian couldn't eat much. She had no appetite for food since she came here because she was worried about the sword dance. Did you hear what I said to Gongya Li? Yes. I heard you said that I am someone who will do great things in the future. Why did you say that? I'm good at looking at people. Thank you for your positive comments. But that's too much of a compliment. Chen Hualuju said, looking at Ian with calm eyes. This warrior is a precious person. So always value yourself. Ian was grateful that she said this. While I was hiding in the safe house, I didn't show it to the public, but I was very worried about the sword dance. I was so worried that I couldn't sleep at night. Every time that happened, Chen Hualuju consoled herself that nothing would happen. Her comfort is strangely supportive. It may have been due to some mysterious aura that was difficult to explain in words that the woman named Qion Waruju had. At that time, Qiongmian, who rarely appears, entered the place. Ian asked in surprise. What's going on? The headquarters of the Apostolic Alliance is on alert. Don't you know the details? Yes. I only heard that there was an emergency. Ian said, trying to calm his anxious mind. Young master, you will be fine. Because Soma is protecting you. It was then. A welcome voice came from behind. Why don't you think about the opposition? I can protect Soma. When I turned around, I saw Jeomgyuk and Gyukak Soma walking in side by side. There was blood splattered on the two people's clothes, especially in the sword dance. Surprised, Ian ran over and examined Jeomgyuk's body first. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Jeomgyuk sat down on the floor and Ian looked at his body. Although he received sword wounds in various places, he had avoided fatal injuries. I was hurt a lot. All my limbs were almost cut off. I don't think it's that bad. No, look closely. Check to see if all your fingers and toes are still together. Ian turned his head and greeted Extreme Soma politely. Thank you for saving our master. No. It's the opposite. Jeomgyuk joked and Extreme Soma remained calm. So, it seemed like the atmosphere where Gyukak Soma saved Jeomgyuk. Extreme Soma was staring at the sword dance in silence. Chenhua Ruju could feel the change in Extreme Evil Soma. Just as the mask worn has changed, the way one looks at the sword dance has changed. She asked, crossing Extreme Soma's arms. Brother, you are not injured, are you? Does not exist. Then can we go back to Cheonwaru now? Extreme Demon Soma nodded, and Chenhua Ruju was delighted. Just as she felt the change in Extreme Soma, Ian also felt one thing. Maybe that Chenhua Ruju knew that the two would return today. Do you all want to go right away? Let's go first. When Chenhua Ruju looked back at Gyukak Soma's chin gesture, Jeomgyuk was sleeping, leaning on Ian's back. Ian said he would stay like this for a while, so I pretended to go first. Chenhua Ruju whispered to Extreme Evil Demon. After a long time, have a drink with the food I cooked. It's good. Extreme Evil Soma and Chenhua Ruju Kyeonmian left there first. Ian sat quietly so as not to break the sword dance. Ian's expression, which had been extremely tense for a while, finally relaxed. Welcome back, Master. I had a dream. In my dream, I was fighting Baekmangi. It was not a new fight, but a reenactment of a previous fight. Baekmangi's sword blade, which was too fast to be seen during the fight, unfolded like a slow painting. My herbivorous diet was also moving slowly. I felt like I was watching the fight objectively as a third party. It's like being a spectator and watching from the side. In an instant, I remembered exactly what I thought I had forgotten about. I replayed the fight like a Bardock player replaying a game. My subconscious was accurately remembering the fight with Baekmangi. He could even control the speed of the fight. The moment I decided to stop here for a moment, Baekmangi and I in the dream stopped moving. Thanks to this, I was able to closely examine the position and angle of the sword. The fight moved according to my will. You could watch it by moving slowly, or you could stop it. In that way, I was able to compare the difference between Jian Wang's martial arts and my martial arts. This process gave me as much enlightenment as the experience of fighting in person. In fact, there were times when I had to fight for new experiences. At the last moment when fighting Baekmangi, only he was visible and the world went dark. I could tell. These mysterious events are a result of the changes that occurred when the Baishan sword technique achieved the 12 saints and Daesung. The internal energy exceeded a certain limit, and the teachings of the master of all things were added to it. The moment my sword finally pierced his heart, I woke up. My body and mind were refreshed. I thought I would be more tired because I was fighting even in my dreams, but that wasn't the case. It looks like he had a dream before he finally woke up and slept well. Master, are you awake? Are you hungry? How long did I sleep? You fell asleep almost 10 o'clock. This meant that I slept almost a full day. It's been a long time since I slept soundly. Now that I think about it, this was the first time I've slept so soundly since returning. My physical condition was also good. Thanks to your kindness and Gyupuncheon Jamsa, the wound where I was injured was not that deep. Thank you, old man. If Hyul Doma had not given him his favor, he would have definitely been hurt more. I unwrapped the Gyupuncheon Jamsa and wrapped it around the handle of the black magic sword again. I don't think I slept that long. I think you were very tired. What about Extreme Soma? Did you go to Cheonwaru? Yes, you two went first. Suddenly, I felt like I wanted to see Extreme Soma, so I guess it's true that people become closer while fighting. New news came in while you were sleeping. Bisane killed Suk Guanchu's grandson. I nodded silently. It was a moment that changed not only the fate of Bisane but also the fate of the Sado alliance. Originally, Suk Guanchu's grandson was the successor to Sada Maing. We don't know how this change will affect our future. This is a good thing, right? Maybe. I lay down again. Ian pulled the blanket over him. No, eat and sleep. A little bit. I'll prepare a meal, so come out as soon as I call you. I called out to Ian as he left the room. Ian. Yes? It's nice to see you again. Ian smiled broadly. Me too. Commander-in-Chief Simon had come down to the Operation Command Room. The Operation Command Room of Tongkyongak is known to be safer than Gyeongmajian. Hundreds of letters arrive every day and are analyzed here. Not yet. Yes. Simon was nervous because of the last letter that had arrived. I wasn't this nervous until I heard the news that Sarcophagus was behind it. This is because I believed that Gyeongmajuk and Extreme Soma would get through it on their own. However, when Baekmangji's name was mentioned, Tongkyongak was put on alert. If Baekmangi had truly moved, the lives of Gyeongmajuk and Extreme Soma could not be guaranteed. But the religious leader did not give any orders. As the opponent was the enemy, it would have been impossible to immediately dispatch a master to support them nearby, but it was possible to send an urgent message to Gyeongmajuk and Gyukak Soma to stop everything and return. But Gyeongwoo-jin didn't do that. Simon Ming felt like he was a religious leader, but he also thought that it was a decision he could never make. Do you really believe that much? The soldiers working here were also very nervous, as it was rare for a general to come down here and wait for a war message like this in person. The soldiers who managed this place were those with the authority to handle Tongkyongak's top secrets. Simon Ming was also the one he trusted the most. At that time, the long-awaited letter arrived. The soldier who confirmed the contents reported in a welcoming tone. Both Seok Guanchu and Baekmangi are dead. Simon Ming was relieved at the report from his subordinate soldiers, but he was also deeply surprised. What about our two? Both Lee Gongya and Extreme Evil Soma are safe. Simon Ming sighed in relief and sat down in his seat. Relaxed, he leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes for a moment. Two people killed Baekmangji and Suk Guanchu? That won't be possible. Since the Apostles and Bisane moved together, there must have been other variables. A new expert may have emerged from the Sado alliance. As time passes, we will find out more details about what happened. In the meantime, the soldier who made the report organized the war documents and brought them back as a report. It was a report to be sent to Gyeongma. Simon Ming asked him as he accepted the report. What do you think about this? I don't know how Baekmangji died, but one thing is certain. The latest news related to science and engineering always surprises me. Simon Ming nodded in agreement and stood up. However, Simon Ming left the strategy room, thinking that it was even more surprising that the leader seemed to have predicted this outcome, at least for today. A few days after arriving at the safe house, I walked around the streets and bought various items. There were a lot of things to buy, so I bought a cart and loaded them up. First, I stopped by a doctor's office and bought several new needle tubes, and then stopped by a pharmacy and bought several herbs in bulk. There were rare and expensive herbs, and there were also commonly used herbs. After gathering the herbs, I bought a container. It was a wooden barrel large enough for 3 or 4 people to fit into it. I bought new blankets and clothes, and food and alcohol to last me for a while. Then, I bought a large longing that could illuminate my whole body. Ian was surprised when he saw the things I bought from the author. What is all this? Guess what it is? These are completely unrelated things, right? She asked me with a curious look as she looked at the pile of herbs. Aren't you suffering from internal injuries? I didn't tell you because I was afraid you would worry. I think I should go to Dr. Ma quickly. Ian looked at the cart again. You're not hurt. But why did you buy so many herbs? Then I picked something up from the cart. What is this? OMG! She whispered as she lowered herself next to the cart, putting down what she had picked up where it was. This is women's underwear, right? That's right. I lowered my posture like her. Why did you buy underwear? Because I need it. But why are you whispering all of a sudden? Has an enemy appeared? That's right, something more surprising than a grocery store map came out of the cart. My back hurts. Can we stop standing up? I have other clothes too. So pretty. There was also a beautiful palace made of high-quality silk. Whose is this? Is this a very thin woman? I have someone to give a gift to. If you're giving me underwear as a gift, it seems like you're very close to me, right? It's close. There's no way I don't know someone who's so close to me. But that doesn't mean his Lord Cheonhwaru. Ah. Is there anyone among the courtesans at Cheonhwaru that you liked? Shall I show you who it is? Really? Of course. Let's go. Ian and I drove the cart to a small manor far out of town. Do you live here? You could say so. But when we entered the manor, it was empty. Anybody there? I don't think anyone lives there. It will happen now. I borrowed it for a few days. Why? I spoke to the puzzled woman. It was the words that would change her life, and the words that she most wanted to hear came from me. Because I plan to perform a poison purification technique on you here. Episode 117, My Eyes Are Swollen, Don't Cry. Ian was surprised. She was surprised to see me many times, but this was the first time she was this surprised. Her eyes, which were covered by flesh, began to tremble. Ian, the day is finally here. She couldn't say anything. Although he didn't show it on the outside, I could tell without asking how long he had been waiting for this moment. When will the procedure be done? Now. Really now? The moment I've been waiting for so suddenly comes like this. Something that will change your destiny usually comes suddenly. So when I look back, it all seems like luck and coincidence. I'm nervous. Okay. You can drop it. I just have to stop shaking. I dropped my hand and pretended to misplace the needle. I was just joking to make her relax, but Ian was so nervous and excited that he seemed at a loss as to whether I was joking or not. In my mind, it would be nice to open a wonderful space using space-time transformation techniques and do it there, but I couldn't do that because of the effort required to maintain the space. Lie down on the bed over there. Ian did as he was told and lay down on the bed. She took several deep breaths. Until I woke up in the morning, I would have never dreamed that I would be lying down for a kidney purification treatment like this today. I started putting acupuncture needles on the designated points. I used my best effort to touch the needle, one needle at a time. If you look at it from the side, it looks like even a local doctor could do it, but unlike what you see, it was done with the highest level of technology. A certain amount of force had to be injected into the acupuncture needles, and sometimes the acupuncture needles had to be released while reciting the phrases. If there is even one mistake, the procedure will be a failure and she will suffer serious internal injuries. While I was giving her acupuncture, I injected internal energy into her body to control her running energy and blood. Heat surged from her body and sweat poured down like rain. I groaned and groaned from the surging pain. It hurts a lot, right? It's normal to feel pain. She said something. I was saying I could tolerate it, but it didn't sound right. It was such a difficult and painful procedure. I performed the procedure carefully until the last moment. After finishing the prescribed acupuncture session, I went outside for a while. I quietly closed my eyes and sat cross-legged, controlling my inner energy. It was truly a huge drain on mental strength. Acupuncture was not a one-time thing. After all the needles were retrieved, the needles were placed again in a different order from the beginning. As the procedure progressed, the drain on her mental strength increased and the pain she experienced also increased. You! A scream came from her mouth. Although she was quite patient and tolerant, it seems that this pain is difficult to bear. Cheer up, Ian. It was unfortunate, but I had no choice but to overcome it. After the second acupuncture session, I filled the container I had purchased with water, pounded the herbs, and mixed them with the water. The amount control and mixing of herbs must be precise. Then I basted again. It was the final hurdle for her too. I don't know if he could hear it, but I spoke softly to Ian. This is the last time. Be patient. She gritted her teeth and endured the pain. In the meantime, I injected internal energy and caressed her energy and blood, trying to somehow relieve the pain. Hang in there, Ian. After 3 difficult needles, they put her in medication. A long tube was attached to the throat and fixed so that the person could breathe. All I can do is done. I just hope that the procedure ends successfully. Ian had a dream. It was a very childhood dream. Can you learn full-body petrification for Confucius? What is full-body petrochemical engineering? I wanted to ask, but I wasn't in the mood to ask. Because he was always a scary master. Yes. There are side effects if you learn full body petrification. Your body will swell. She didn't know exactly what swelling meant. The swelling won't go away. Forever. At the time, I didn't know what it meant that the swelling wouldn't go down. She had no idea how difficult the heavy meaning of that word, forever, would make her life. Because I was only 8 years old at the time. Are you still going to do it? Yes. There was an atmosphere where it felt like it would be okay to say not to do it. But the decision wasn't just because of the scary atmosphere. I wanted to be around the sword dance. I liked the sword dance performance from the first time I saw it. Did you really regret it? Time passed in my dream. She was standing in front of the broken dream. In his broken dream, an unfamiliar girl was glaring at him. A girl who had become so fat that I didn't even know if it was me or you was getting angry. Why are you angry? I'm so sad because of you. Time passed again. She was watching a drunken sword dance from behind. Shit. She could tell. What does Jiamujuk want to say now? What's wrong with me being worse than my brother? Those are probably the words I couldn't bear to say. The religious leader had more confidence in the Archduke, and rumors were circulating that the successor would be the Archduke. After Kion Magian announced that anyone with the ability could become a successor, there were people who openly ignored sword dance. There were also those who thought that ignoring him would make the Archduke look good. Everyone thought that Jiamujuk would lose the succession battle and die. Only she knows. How hard did you try to impress your father with your sword dance performance? Boom! Sword dance hit the table. A liquor bottle fell from the broken table and broke. She went and put the bottle away. Cheer up, master. From some point on, Jiamujuk didn't even give him a warm look. It was a sword dance where all focus was on whether or not he would become the successor. Still, she liked sword dance. The dream took her to another day. To that fateful day when everything started to change. Jiamujuk, who returned from the battle between the gods and demons, was standing in front of Dongyang. The way he looked at himself had changed. Jiamujuk asked, "How do I look? It's been a long time since I've seen such warm eyes. I guess you feel good because you won the competition, right? You are the most handsome in Gango." Not funny. There is always a fixed answer to the question of the person who pays the monthly salary. When was the last time we exchanged jokes like this? The sword dance in Tokyo was staring at her. Why do you see it that way? At that moment she woke up and opened her eyes. I saw an unfamiliar ceiling. After some time had passed, she realized that this was the place where the divine poison purification technique had been performed. Is the poison purification technique finished? She slowly got up. My body felt different. Then she looked at her hands. Seem Oksu's white and long hands. Her heart sank, but then began to beat like a bat. She closed her eyes tightly. It might still be a dream. I hope it's not a dream. She opened her eyes again with a sad heart. Her hands were no longer the same as before, when they were as big as bears. It was her dream to just become a little smaller, but now it is a very beautiful Seam jade. She slowly lifted the blanket, suppressing the urge to scream. It was an unfamiliar bridge. The two white, straight legs were so beautiful. In the end she ended up screaming. It was her first time experiencing that if you like someone too much, you scream without even realizing it. She came down from the bed. The moment I stepped on the floor, my legs grew huge and I was afraid that I might wake up from my dream. But that didn't happen. It was the moment she took her first step into a new life. She got off the bed and slowly walked towards Dong Gyeong. Ah! A strange woman stood in longing. It was unfamiliar yet familiar. Because I had a childhood. Is it the first time in a while that you see your real self? Her face was pretty and her body was perfect. How can one face be both gorgeous and pure at the same time? The gentle eyes looked intelligent and gave off a sense of arrogance that could not be easily accessed. No other expressions were needed. In short, it was overwhelming beauty. I felt like tears would fall, but surprisingly, no tears came out. It was because I still felt dazed, wondering if it was a dream or something. At that time, I saw underwear and a white gown for her lying next to the bed. The moment I saw it, my heart pounded and I realized that all of this was not a dream. Whose is this? Is this a very slim woman? I have someone to give a gift to. If you are giving me underwear as a gift, it seems like you are very close to me, right? It's close. The clothes that Jiamujuk prepared for someone close to him were for himself. She put on her underwear and a palace suit and stood in front of Tokyo again. It was more beautiful than before. I was so happy that Jiamujuk bought clothes for this moment. It felt so good to be taken care of for myself. At least at this moment, the thought of sword dance for myself was better than curing the side effects. She walked out slowly. The person I wanted to see so much was standing in the yard with his back turned. Ian called to him slowly. "Young master." Then Jiamujuk slowly turned towards her. Jiamujuk saw her wearing a palace uniform. For a moment, Jeongyuk's eyes widened. When I finished the sin poison purification procedure and laid her on the bed, I already saw a beautiful change in her. But when she opened her eyes and stood in front of her, she was different from then. It was so beautiful that I was speechless. The poison purification technique was successful. Congratulations, Ian. Tears finally flowed from her eyes. Your eyes are swollen. Don't cry on days like today. You can pour it. I've lived with swelling all my life. Now I have to live differently. No, my life hasn't changed. I am still the same Ian before and after the kidney purification procedure. Yes, it's the same Ian to me. Ian ran and hugged Jiamujuk. She cried for a long time in Jiamujuk's arms. I didn't say thank you. I felt like my gratitude would fade if I said it in words. Can I ask you again? What? Why are you being so nice to me? Don't ask. It's a question I'll have to ask again sooner or later. Yes? With an unexpected smile, Jiamujuk grabbed her hand. Let's go and show off. Who? Who is it? Starting with the worst person in the world who made fun of you and called you an ugly heart. Ian smiled brightly at Jiamujuk's words. I walked down the street with Ian. People split left and right, like water splitting. Everyone looked at her in fascination. Not only men but also women stared. I looked at the child and the old man too. I saw a monk and a Taoist monk. The dog that was barking also stopped crying and looked at her. Everyone is looking at you. How do you feel? It's too burdensome. Enjoy it. How can you enjoy it when people are looking at you like that? Enjoy that gaze. Ah, I wish you could look at me like that too. Please take it. Once you get used to it, you won't say things like that, right? It was the same when I arrived at Cheonhwaru. Everyone's eyes were focused on her. Admiration erupted from everywhere. Among the courtesans, there were some famous beauties, but they were incomparable from the beginning. Although she had the same beauty, Ian had a noble quality to her. Even though she had no makeup on, her face was glowing. So we entered the room where Extreme Soma and Cheonhwaruju were. Extreme Evil Soma was lying on Cheonhwaruju's lap. Luckily you're still here. I waited for you to come. What have you been so busy about? Extreme Soma glanced at me and was surprised when he saw Ian next to him. Extreme Soma stood up. I thought it would be enough to end Ian's beauty with these words. A beauty that raises even the evil Soma that was lying down. Who are you? This is my new heart. What about the old heart? I threw it away. Did you kill that ugly heart by any chance? I smiled because I knew he was sincerely asking this. Yes, I killed him with my own hands. What if I kill you? Why are you doing this? Do you really want to see my ugly heart? No, I haven't paid off the money to repair the carriage yet. Ian smiled brightly at those words. When she smiled, it felt like the whole place became brighter. At that time, Cheonhwaruju asked the extremely evil demon vaguely. I'm prettier than when I was younger, right? I urgently looked at Extreme Soma. Be careful. It's a trap, Soma. Episode 118, Cheeky and Pretty Heart. You were much prettier. Extreme Soma easily jumped over the trap. Hearing his words, Cheonhwaruju smiled brightly. Don't say that. It wasn't to that extent. No. It was much better in my eyes. Soma, who had been through all sorts of hardships, showed that he was never shaken by a sudden surprise attack. Still, Extreme Soma's gaze was focused on Ian. Yes, it was not easy for anyone to take their eyes off such a beautiful woman. Even at this time, Extreme Soma did not recognize Ian who came in with him. It was Chen Hualuju who recognized Ian. "Congratulations, Mr. Lee." She was calm, as if she knew this would happen. "Thank you, Ruju." Hearing Ian's voice, Extreme Soma was startled. He asked with wide eyes, "Could it be that ugly heart?" "No way." I was so surprised that the words "I can't believe it" came out twice. Ian said with a smile, "Yes, it is an ugly heart, but it has a funny talent." Extreme Soma jumped up and approached Ian. I stared at her face up close. Ian trembled with fear under the pressure of the white mask. Extreme Soma tilted his head. "There may be some resemblance, but it's not." "Surely not?" Extreme Soma looked at me. "Are you trying to make fun of me?" "It's true that I came here to make fun of you, and my heart is also right." "That's right." Extreme Soma glanced at Ian again. "It can't be." "No, absolutely not." He, who strongly denied it, looked back at Chion Waruju behind him. She nodded once with a yes expression on her face. Extreme Soma asked me, "What happened?" "I used to look like this, but I gained so much weight as a side effect of self-defense." "You look like this to begin with, but you were an escort? Isn't this our school's greatest waste of talent?" At the same time, it was the highest praise for Extreme Soma. Ian said to him with a smile, "That's because I want to protect you, Master." Of course, it was I who set the facts straight. "Did you do it because you wanted to? You know it well, right? How does our school work? This school is acting in such a heartless manner that we end up acting as the Mason and successors." However, Extreme Soma's eyes turned to Ian. "I guess we'll have to make an exception in this case." A new admiration was added to the extreme evil Soma's gaze towards her. It was not an admiration for her beauty, but an admiration for her sacrifice. Chan Huaruju went to Ian and held his hands. "It's so beautiful. Congratulations." "Thank you. Now, follow me. I will complete this drone." "Completion? You don't know how to put on makeup, do you?" "Yes." "Have you ever worn makeup properly while working as an escort?" "There are times in life when you have to fight with something other than a sword. For a woman, makeup is a more powerful weapon than a sword." Chenhua Luju took her hand and left the room. Ian, too, seemed to want to learn how to do makeup, so he pretended not to be able to resist and was dragged out. "It's frustrating, but let's go out." "Great." I left the room with Extreme Soma. The area around Chion Waruju's residence was well decorated, making it a good place to take a walk. Being with Lee Gongya is truly a series of amazing experiences. I think you were surprised. Even I was surprised that the side effects of martial arts were resolved. However, the amazing experience that Extreme Soma was just talking about was not about Ian, but about the previous fight. As we fought that day, I thought we might be killed by Baekmang Ji. I didn't know it was really that strong. But what was truly surprising was not Baekmang Ji's strength. Now, Extreme Soma is revealing his honest feelings. So did I. But Lee Gongya killed him. If Soma-sama hadn't helped me, I would have been the one who died. That was an obvious fact. Extreme Soma stared at me. I think I know what Soma is thinking now. What am I thinking? I'm sure he's the one who killed the Soul Mason. Extreme Soma laughed loudly. Wrong. I told you this before, right? I already believe that. Because I believed in it, I stuck with Baekmangi. Otherwise, I would have gotten out of there without even looking back. Did you believe me? Risking your life? After a moment, Extreme Soma answered. I think it probably was. We walked there in silence for a while. The experience of going through life and death together gave us great emotional ups and downs. I was really angry when Extreme Soma's mask was almost cut off. That was the first time I realized that I had such great feelings for Extreme Soma in my heart. I think it was the same for him too. Then, Extreme Soma suddenly picked up a tree branch that had fallen on the ground and drew a straight line. How far have we come now? I took the branch he held out and drew a line along what we previously called the survival line. I think we've come this far. This was the place where they said they would save my life only if I came here. At that moment I saw. I see him smiling through the eye sockets of his white mask. The way he smiles for real. He laughed silently, but it wasn't an angry laugh. Purely and naturally, he just laughed. I hadn't seen that smile even in my life before returning, but surprisingly, I saw it at the end of this trip. Of course, the line will move depending on what Soma-sama and I do in the future. We can go further this way, or we can come back to the starting point. What happens when we get to the end? We will become real friends. We eat and drink together. We have fun together and we fight together. If you're in danger, go to the rescue. Then, if someone dies first, they will sprinkle alcohol on the graveside. It's all unnecessary, pretentious and burdensome. Sometimes, when you actually do it, it's not that big of a deal. I don't even want that from extreme Soma. The initial goal was to get to the point where there were no friends or enemies. At least I think I achieved my goal through this trip. At that time, Kyungmin appeared where we were. What he brought he gave to extreme Soma. It was a white mask. Now, as promised, extreme Soma gave me the mask that Kyungmin brought. He said he would give me a new mask the day I fought Baekmang Gi, and he never forgot that promise. Thank you. I tried on a new mask. It was definitely lighter and more comfortable. Is it good? I don't think I'll sweat much. Kyungmin made it himself. My mask was also made by Kyungmin. Your dexterity is amazing. Kyungmin slightly bowed his head at my praise. At that time, two people walked in there. It was Ian and Chen Hualuju who went to do the makeup. Not only I, but even Gyukak Soma and Kyungmin were surprised. Ian, with makeup on, looked like a completely different woman. It was fascinating and sensual. It was intense and gorgeous. This warrior is so classy that I tried to create a different atmosphere. It literally felt like I was seeing another peerless beauty. Makeup is a woman's weapon? In that case, we would be watching the world's best sword. From now on, I'll call you a pretty heart, not an ugly heart. Even extreme Soma seems to secretly like Ian's transformation. At that time, Tian Huaruju hinted. As expected, you're prettier than when you were young, right? Then, extreme Soma spoke coldly to Ian. Be sure to pay back the price of the carriage. Meanwhile, through their conversation, Kyungmin was truly surprised when he learned that the beautiful woman in front of him was Ian. This is this warrior. Ian smiled and answered the surprised man. Yes, Kyungmin. It's me. Is this really unmanned? He was so surprised that you could tell the expression on his face. He was extremely careful in his actions and reserved words in front of the extreme Soma, but he even forgot about the situation in front of the extreme Soma. Realizing this fact too late, Kyungmin stepped back. At that time, Ian spoke to me carefully. Can I wear that mask? Considering the gaze she had experienced on the way here, I was able to understand Ian. Because I wasn't the type of person to enjoy that kind of attention. I'm fine, but I have to ask Soma for permission. Because it was given to me by Soma. Ian said to extreme Soma. Can I wear that mask? No. Then you can't see that pretty face, right? I guess he must have felt this way. Why? The makeup you put so much effort into will come off. Who did your makeup on? It was a very evil Soma who only gave the correct answer until the end. Chenhua Luju lightly pinched extreme evil demon's arm in a good mood. She is probably the only person in the world who can pinpoint extreme Soma. You can use it if you want. Thank you. Ian was very happy with the permission from extreme Soma. She took the mask from me and put it on her face. He asked, looking at me. How is it? Whatever. This is a deception about beauty and a despair for the men of the world. You told me I should be happy, right? I think I'll be happier if I have this. I went over and put Ian's mask on his head. When we are alone, write comfortably like this. At this time, your mask will be looking at the sky. Is it good? Ian asked Kyungmin if it was Kim who had already kicked him out. Do you happen to be a beauty queen? Kyungmin couldn't answer for a moment because he didn't know what it meant. I guessed what she was trying to say. Everything works for you. I will also destroy the middle class that has been with me for 100 years. You're exaggerating. See you later. Isn't that so? Ian spoke to Kyungmin again. What I said earlier was a joke. I would like to appoint you as the first leader of the organization I will create. Kyungmin was surprised by the unexpected words. When I was hesitating because I didn't know what to answer, Extreme Soma spoke. I gave him a mask as a gift, and the first thing he did after putting it on was try to steal my person. Please don't misunderstand. Even before receiving the mask, Kyungmin was the first candidate. I'm asking you to give up your position as a mason and come to the position of manager. Do you know that? Yes. Does Kyungmin look like such a fool? No. I thought he was someone who had the courage to throw himself into a new life for once. Courage, a cocky heart, you are the best. If I see you say that in front of me. I trusted you, master, and just killed you. Sorry. She bowed politely to Extreme Soma. I saw the conflict in Kyungmin's eyes. Yes, a man would be conflicted if such a beautiful leader asked him out. But it occurred to me that this beauty might be disturbed. If it had been Ian before the procedure, he might have gone, but some people don't want to look like snobs who go because they have become more beautiful. Please think about it. Kyungmin nodded slightly. Even after seeing that, Extreme Soma didn't say anything else. Even if Kyungmin decided to go, he seemed like the kind of person who would say something stupid and send him off. If I show that, the line drawn in my heart will move further to the right. Extreme Soma said to me. Gongya Lee. Let's go back now. Go back first. I'll play with my pretty heart for a bit and then go in. It wasn't for me, it was for Ian. I took off my skin and came out, but I have to fly high before I go back in. Cheon Waruju saw right through my heart. Gongya Lee is a very good person. Then Extreme Soma answered. Don't be fooled. Gongya Lee is a villain among villains. Can't you see that mask? He is a person who has been wearing a mask since birth. There are two masked people standing there right now. Then Tranhuaruju smiled and said. So it suits you well. As I turned to leave with Ian, I turned back to the evil Soma. Thank you so much for showing me this wonderful world. Please show me again next time. Before parting ways, Tranhuaruju said. Gongya Lee, please take good care of my brother from now on. Originally, Ian would have had to say that he was taking good care of our master. However, Tranhuaruju was jokingly but seriously asking for Extreme Evil Soma. Did she see something in my relationship with Extreme Soma? At least one thing was certain. There is only one person in this world, Tranhuaruju, who truly cares for and understands him. I smiled and said it out loud. Yes, Luju, I will take good care of Soma from now on. Leaving behind the dumbfounded Soma, I turned around, holding Ian's hand. Let's go, Ian. Let's go see Jungwon. From now on, your world will be completely different from before. Episode 119. Enjoy, Ian. Can you feel those gazes? Ian and I were at the guest house. People were sitting around her. The seats on the other side were empty, but people were sitting on our side. Everyone quietly shifted their seats to see her face from a little closer. I whispered to Ian. The guy on the left looked at you 6 times, and the guy on the right pretended not to look and looked at you 7 times. The guy next to him is openly losing his mind. Oh, stop looking. Take the saucer next to you. Oh my. It must hurt. At that time, a customer came in. The man who was looking around to see where to sit opened his eyes wide and looked at Ian. He walked towards her as if he were fascinated and fell over the table. No one paid any attention to him, and the man who fell also jumped up. Then I sat down in a place where I could see Ian clearly. The man sitting next to him didn't realize that his glass was overflowing as he was pouring his drink. How do you feel? Is it good? You like it? Aren't you embarrassed? You may have made me sit here without a mask on to make fun of me because I was embarrassed, but the operation failed. I love it so much. It's unexpected. Did I tell you that I have several hidden tails? You can act as embarrassed as you want, but you can also just enjoy the stares. Ian smiled slightly at the onlookers. Exclamations erupted here and there. She whispered. And I saw the guy on the left 8 times, not 6. I like Ian like this. She is flexible. I know how to show my intelligence and I also know how to hide it. She has always lived proudly even though she suffered from the side effects of full-body petrification throughout her life. There are scars and there is also pride. Well, since we've had enough in this guest house, let's go buy some cotton yarn. Cotton yarn? You can't go around wearing a mask, right? Wear that mask whenever you need it, and wear cotton thread on regular days. I tried to do that too. The money is tight. Buy it with your own money. Ang, please buy it. A few people fell down when she said, and some people grabbed their bags when she said, please buy me something. As she and I got up, disappointment and sighing swept through us. Eyes of envy and jealousy flew towards me. Among them, there was also a look of reprimand for buying cotton yarn. I left the guest house with her and walked together. A white mask hung from her waist. In the future, there will be people who blatantly covet your beauty. There must be all kinds of guys. There will be people who try to get it through force, and there will also be people who try to get it through drugs. There will be all kinds of people. I admit it. Whether it was my intention or unconsciousness, I postponed her sin poison purification technique for this reason. Because I don't like worrying. But that doesn't mean I'm not worried about her now that I've given her the poison purification technique. I will let go of my worries in another way. You must have the strength to protect yourself from such things. I plan to raise you with the skills to face off against the Masons. I was already thinking about that when I performed the poison purification technique on her. Ian was not shy for no reason. Because I was taught the Baishan sword technique, not just any other martial art, but also had the natural goal of surpassing the Majin. I will try harder so as not to cause you worry. Don't do it anymore. Even now, there is a lot of effort. She smiled, and the heart of the old bachelor clerk at the fruit shop who was mesmerized only fluttered. I stopped at a fabric store and bought her a bamboo rib with cotton thread. It had the advantage of being able to completely cover her face, but when she tried using bamboo lipstick, she rejected it. This is so uncomfortable. First of all, the field of view is too narrow, so I think it would be very vulnerable to surprise attack. I need to become a more expert to be able to use it. Then let's just buy cotton yarn first. I bought him a cotton thread that covers under his eyes like a mask. The cotton thread alone couldn't hide her beauty, but it was still a little better. If I make a tattoo later, it will make the mask really cool. When I thought of her wearing a mask with a unique ghost pattern, it seemed really mysterious and cool. I don't think Kyungmin would be able to bear it if he saw that, right? She stopped wherever she could see her reflection. I haven't expressed it all, but how good do you feel right now? Enjoy, Ian. Where are we going now? Would you like to climb a mountain? Sanyo? Now that I feel lighter, let's go climbing a mountain. Now run. After running for a long time to Gyeonggong, we arrived at the foot of a strangely shaped cliff. Tread where I step. She couldn't say a single word as she followed me up the cliff. This was her first time climbing such a steep cliff. Only when she reached the top did she breathe a sigh of relief. Honestly, I was really scared coming up. Although her swordsmanship was at a high level, Gyeonggong's skills did not reach that level. If you fall, you'll die, right? You have to die to become a master. With your swordsmanship skills, you shouldn't die. What should I do if I fall? I need to stay alert and somehow slow down my falling speed. Of course, in my case, I would use my strength and get off lightly when I almost reached the bottom, but with Ian's skills, it would be impossible. Although it will consume a lot of internal energy, you must fall from above while reducing your speed as much as possible. As you know, it is difficult to survive just by being good at swordsmanship. You have to be good at guard, have a lot of courage, have good judgment, and you have to be good at seeing people. Ah. It was warm inside the greenhouse. She was joking that she was comfortable with me and under the protection of our school, but I don't think so. She has never been in a greenhouse. Because of the emotional wounds caused by the side effects of martial arts, I couldn't sleep well even though he was escorting me. Where can you find a greenhouse that is so difficult? After I returned, she couldn't sleep well even though she was training. Is it spring outside the greenhouse? Is it winter? It's never been spring in Gango. Like this scary cliff. She looked down the cliff. I whispered in her ear. Do you remember what I said earlier? What to do when you fall? Of course. Be alert and slow down your falling speed. That's it then. The next moment I pushed her down the cliff. Ah. She fell with a desperate scream. I jumped down after her. I thought he was going to fall in a mess, but Ian was struggling, trying to somehow maintain his balance and slow down. However, because I had no experience yet, I was using too much strength in my body and was wasting my energy needlessly. I instantly increased my speed and hugged her in the air. Only then did Ian, who was held by me, feel relieved. "Hang on to me." "Yes." And I showed her how to slow down by using her feet and arms. Even though he was holding her, his speed suddenly slowed down. Ian clung to me and watched without missing a single movement. As I fell, I flew towards the cliff. There was a small cave in the middle of the cliff. As soon as he got down there, Ian finally shouted, "I really thought I was going to die." "Lie. You believed I would save you, right?" "Of course, but I was really surprised. I fell faster than I expected, so I lost my balance. If you keep falling, you will get used to it and gradually regain your balance." "Yes. I remember well what you did." "Then that's it. But I didn't know there was a cave in a place like this. Remember the location and avoid here if you are chased out of this area." "How did you know about this place? Is this cave the only thing I know?" "Sure. So I'm not going to ask anymore. But why did you come here?" "From now on, I will conquer your Im-Dok-Young line." At first, she just blinked because she said it without even setting the mood to say something important. Then, my eyes gradually widened and I was surprised, but the final size of this surprise was bigger than when I was told that I would perform a poison purification technique. Rather, it was something I had already predicted, but it was something I had never even thought of right now. Im-Dok-Yang Marek Tatong. Although it is something that must be done to become a true expert, it is the greatest skill that only a very small number of martial artists can experience. This process was very dangerous and difficult, so there were more than one person who died trying to rashly pursue the Im-Dok-Young line. In addition, there were cases where the person performing the stroke also died from regurgitation of energy and blood. There is no need to go far into examples. We, who are the blood relatives of the heavenly demon, passed the Im-Dok-Yang lineage when we were young, and I still vividly remember how much my older brother scared me when I was doing it. My brother may have hoped that I would fall into Yuwa Ilma because I couldn't overcome my fear, but I succeeded in successfully defeating Im-Dok-Yang Mak. In any case, the Tatong of Im-Dok-Yang Marek should never be done or accepted carelessly. That is why the veteran members of the prestigious clan take risks and do it only for the orthodox successors of the clan. Are you really trying to beat me to the Im-Dok-Yang vein? Who? Why on earth are you so nice to me? Oh, that's why you told me not to ask. It's a question we'll have to ask again soon. When I finished the poison purification technique, I told her not to ask questions. It's a gift. A gift to celebrate your new life. Ian couldn't say anything. Tears welled up in her eyes again. I'm a person who hates crying, but you keep making me cry. It's nothing to cry about. That's right, I'm happy. I'm so happy that I feel like I'm flying. Now then, shall we begin? I'll leave you with the last word in case anything goes wrong. Please tell this to our master. I'm sorry for not being able to serve you until the end. I will scold you, master. Because I'm monopolizing you too much. It won't be easy to scold you. You're getting stronger every day. I ended up laughing at her words. Now, let's start with breakfast. She sat cross-legged and practiced meditation. When I reached the top of my head, I injected powerful energy into her back. I slowly moved my inner energy along her blood vessels. You don't have to answer me from now on. No matter what happens, you must not stop screaming or crying. You can't lose your mind. While she was calming down and controlling her mind, the speed of my internal power moving along my blood vessels became faster and faster. The Amaric starts from the lips, goes down the chest and abdomen, and reaches the perineum acupoint, and the Dokmak starts from the perium acupoint, goes up along the tailbone and spine, passes through the bicohiole, and continues to the lips. At this time, the most important moment is when the bicohiole is pierced, but the moment the bicohiole located on the top of the head goes wrong, you become a person or lose your life. I knew very well that it was best to get it done in an instant rather than taking time. My pure and deep inner energy boldly pushed her blood vessels. There was nothing to worry about. It was a stroke made by me, not by anyone else. Xiang Jiangyongchen Sion Jiok Dang Yunwen. He literally pierced the blood vessels with such force. As if all kinds of trash were washed away by heavy rain, the waste that was blocking the blood vessels began to break through. Ian had a hard time with unfamiliar pain, but she was accustomed to enduring pain. I was so bold that I wondered if I could penetrate this deep. If you hesitate, accidents will happen. If it doesn't break through the first time, turn around and come back again and again. Then we hit it hard. Yangwen Yungdo Shinjua Mun Noeho Hujong. In this way, he penetrated all the other blood vessels and reached an important milestone. Trust me, Ian. I believe it. Now. Caw 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 caw. Boom. Even the most difficult Biko heel was pierced, and all the remaining blood vessels were pierced, and her Mdokyang vein was penetrated. A smile was on Ian's lips as he slowly fell to the side. Well done, Ian. Ian woke up after sleeping for half a day. Young master? What happened? Now, try a lucky breakfast. Ian sat down with a nervous expression and started eating breakfast. After completing 1 week, her expression brightened. It's different. It's completely different from before. My energy has become much more pure, and my energy moves without hesitation. Congratulations, Ian. I used my inner strength to stop Ian from standing up and bowing to me. I told you this before, right? I did it to pamper you, so there's no need to be thankful. How much are you going to pamper me? I am so thankful that I can say that I have helped Murim become one. Let's start with Murim Iltong after eating. Are you hungry? To the point where I went to search through the Murimarin kitchen. She shouted as she stood in front of the cave. I've beaten the Mdokyang vein, I pushed Ian again from behind. Seeing her fall with less trouble than before, I jumped off the cliff too. After 1 hour, Ian and I ate again at a guest house on the street. We ordered all kinds of delicious things and ate them together. I didn't care what other guests looked like. It is very delicious. Let's go around and eat all the famous dishes that Jungwon is famous for. And what if I get fat again? Even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to. If I go back to the main school, I will have to go through training hell until I achieve greatness in the Baishan sword technique. Oh, let's never go back. Even though she was saying something she had no intention of saying, she was so happy at this moment. At that time, a young man walked towards us, weaving his way through the crowd. He looked quite tall and was wearing expensive and flashy clothes, and behind him were 4 soldiers who appeared to be escort soldiers. Ian whispered as if reciting a spell. Don't come, don't come. Let's just eat comfortably. Looking at her like that, I smiled. These are things you will experience countless times in the future. Now how do you deal with it? The man came in front of Ian and spoke politely with a confident face. So, may I treat you to a drink? Okay, Ian. This is the start. 120th Kian Yangman, not Kian Yangman. Ian sent me a message. What should I do? I'm going to buy you a drink, so do it yourself. I plan to see how she handled it. This is the first time in my life something like this has happened. This is my first time watching it from the side. Are you really doing what you want? Son. I really do. The Baishan sword technique is good and the Mdokyang Mak Tatong is good, but the most important weapon that will protect her is experience. The man introduced himself. My name is Goksa, So Munju of Kian Yangman. He was dressed in expensive silk clothes, and his wrists, fingers, and all kinds of expensive jewelry were adorned. Even the fan was encrusted with gorgeous jewels. Have you ever heard of the text? No. I haven't heard of it because my perspective is limited. Sorry. No, that can happen. In fact, Kian Yangman was a fairly well-known sect in the vicinity. Just by looking at his attire, he was a weaver who would make people wonder where his family was, so because she didn't know, he lost his greatest weapon. What makes you a recluse? You wouldn't know it because it's a nameless sect located far away in the countryside. Then, please tell me Sojio's name. It's White Noodles. I answered that way because I was thinking of a white mask. Gokso was a little taken aback by the strange name Beekmayan, but he soon smiled and said, Now Beekmayan Sojio. Shall we move to our seats and talk? That's a bit awkward. We are in the middle of a conversation right now. Only then did the sergeant look at me. He actually sat down and didn't even glance at me. Who are you, so high up? While Ian was hesitating what to introduce, I answered first. This is the white-faced lady escort. At that moment, the monk's expression frowned slightly. The meaning was why the guard was wearing sickles, but he was able to see through the person himself with this one reaction. I sent a message to Ian. I will be your escort for today. You've been my escort all your life, so it's okay for a day, right? Enjoy. Because this opportunity doesn't come around often. I really enjoy it. The howitzer said to Ian. I guess you are close with the escort. Ian looked at me and said with playful eyes. Even if I tell you to live your own life, you won't leave me. The howitzer glared at me. His eyes were just like this. Since your master is beautiful, aren't you trying to manipulate her somehow? I wonder what you have to say with your escort. We talk about all kinds of things. If I could give you one piece of advice, it would be to keep your distance from escorts. Ian responded to the guide's words. Being attached to a guard means accumulating points by asking him to die for me, right? I laughed inwardly. Now she kept repeating everything I had said before. What kind of nonsense is that? Said the guide with an expression on his face. That's not why. Then why? If you give your subordinates a chance, they tend to have other thoughts. It's not good for them either. He had a serious expression, but he was wearing all kinds of jewels, so what kind of life experience could he be saying? I felt like it was an act of bravado to look cool in front of women. Cute. Yes? Ah, that's right. There are times when I find it cute when I see subordinates with different thoughts. No, Gokso Hyop is cute. For a moment, the chef was taken aback. I guess I didn't know that someone would call me cute so openly. Okay, buy me a drink. Please go to the most expensive bar in town and buy me the most expensive drink. Ian stood up. Why? Did you change your mind when I asked you to buy me an expensive drink? Is that possible? Let's go. We left the bar. Ian was acting differently than I expected. I didn't know she would so willingly allow drinking. After a while, we settled into a special room in the most expensive bar in town. Gokso Hyop. When I play, I invite all my friends. Invite both men and women to play together. Why? Don't you have any friends? The monk's face turned slightly red. The only thing you can trust in Murim is yourself. He seems to have been trained this way since he was young. Don't trust anyone. It looks like you don't have any friends. Then I guess I'll have to play our lonely song as So Hyop's friend. Ian was leading this potentially depressing situation with his unique cheerfulness. The atmosphere became infinitely brighter and she was truly enjoying the occasion. It felt like this. Want to have a drink? Okay, what's there that you can't drink? Let's have fun, let's have fun. Meanwhile, a sumptuous feast was prepared. As you can see from his outfit, the only thing he had was money, and it was his German martial arts skills. One bottle of alcohol costs over 50 nyang. Ian made a fuss at the howler's bravado. This is my first time drinking alcohol this expensive. Now, I will drink it gratefully. Oh, I'll give my escort a drink too. Ian poured him a drink without waiting for his answer. Please get a glass of sword escort. It's a very expensive drink, so don't leave anything behind. Before that, let me do a quick inspection. I took out a silver needle and inspected each drink and dish. Of course, the craftsman made all kinds of facial expressions, but Ian smiled and said to him, Gokso Hyop, you don't play with food and do things like that, right? Then get scolded. I'm really scolded. How can you report me? Even if you don't do that, women will be lining up. Then Ian laughed bitterly. It was a charming smile that could ease even the hearts of enemies. I thought so. Come on, let's have a drink. The three of us toasted. Ian expressed regret after emptying his glass. It's a shame that we drink such good wine only to ourselves. The escorts outside. This time she called the howitzer's escorts outside. 4 escorts entered the room. Would you like to drink with the Gokso Hyop people? Suddenly, the knight made a disapproving expression. One of the 4 escorts stepped forward. We are fine. You must protect the master. Ian told him. Are you really being protected outside there? The guard could not say anything at the meaningful words. Because all this time, I was just watching the drinking party of a maniac who seduces women for money. Soon, Ian gently persuaded Goksa. Don't attach great significance to this matter. Just having a drink together. Please sit down. The guards watched the howler. When Ian looked slightly disappointed, the howitzer could not hold out any longer. When the howitzer nodded, the 4 people sat down. Now, please take a drink from me. She poured them drinks. Maybe Ian feels affectionate toward them. Because it was the same escort. Let's all have a drink together. She raised her glass high and we toasted. Wow, the drink tastes good. Gokso Hyop, please order more alcohol. Oh, it's too expensive, right? What? Do whatever you want. Beauty overwhelmed everything. With Ian's unique cheerfulness and vitality added to it, nothing could stop her. I never imagined that such an atmosphere would be created with these people. She was unstoppable. Because there was no prejudice against the other person, no one felt emotional discomfort. I knew it wasn't just because I was next to him. Again, it was because of confidence in my abilities. Im Dokyangmarik's baton would have given her confidence even more strength. We drank and talked about all kinds of things. Even the escorts, who were extremely reticent at first, answered questions one by one, and things that even the commander did not know were revealed. You gave birth to a son 10 days ago? Oh, congratulations. Of course, Ian didn't question Goksa, who he probably didn't know about. Instead, it created an atmosphere for everyone. Now, our Confucius, here comes a gift. 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 I was amazed by her. It allows you to celebrate without making the pilot feel bad. Honestly, I thought this at this moment. You're better than me. The warrior had never given a gift to his guards before, so he didn't know what to do. Ian spoke calmly to him. There are people I know who like to draw lines. She took chopsticks, dipped her drink, and drew a line on the table. This is when I was hired and this is the end. If you reach the end, you can die for your employer. I will go till the end? It's really not easy. But the escorts hope so. May your relationship with the person you are trying to protect come to an end. Even though coming here means you will die. Those are the escorts here. The 4 guards were slightly enraged by her calm words. Those words were also said to me. That's who I am. You know a lot about escort drones. A question came from the mouth of one of the escorts. I experienced it when I was young. At that time, the howitzer glared at the escort. The look in his eyes asked where he was coming from. The escort who came out cowered and lowered his head. Ian spoke softly to the knight. When you look at people with those eyes, the lines go in the opposite direction. I don't believe it. That someone can purely sacrifice their life for someone else. Do you believe Soza? Ian nodded and held out his glass. Try to trust Gokso Hyop too. I believed it, but then I got stabbed in the back. Wouldn't it be right if I don't believe it? We often associate betrayal with trust. But that is the position of the betrayed side. I trusted you this much, but you betrayed me. But the person who betrays doesn't betray because the other person doesn't trust them, right? It's mostly for other reasons, right? Whether it's money, power, or your personal life. I've never seen it before. What if my master betrayed me because he didn't trust me? It's an excuse to use later. You betrayed me because you didn't trust me. So, you can trust it. Betrayal is a different matter anyway. Sophistry. Let's have a drink for today's sophistry. Goksa could not refuse the drink offered by Ian. He was drunk, but Ian was pretending to be drunk. I saw. She is releasing alcohol through her fingertips from time to time. Even though it seemed like she was just having fun, she was careful. Perfect, Ian. When did you learn it? How to expel cycle. I learned it when I was young. I just couldn't do it because I wasn't good enough until now. Oh, it's a waste. This expensive alcohol. She exclaimed that she remembered it too late. Oh right. Baby gift. Gift. Give me a gift. As she shouted in excitement, the howitzer took out a war bag from his arms. Many. 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 In the end, a fairly large sum came out of the bank account. It's okay. Take it. At least buy the child some clothes. Thank you. Looking at him, Ian gave a thumbs up. Gokso Hyop. It's awesome. It's no big deal. For no reason, Goksa's face turned red. Thanks to this, the atmosphere got better and we drank all night long. It was our first time seeing each other, but we talked about many things. It was the first drinking party for the howitzers and escorts. Ian set the mood and everyone fell into the fun of this drinking party as if they were getting wet in a light rain. We stayed up all night talking about all kinds of trivial things. We talked about martial arts, talking about making money, and talking about family. Ian, who was leading the group, treated everyone with sincerity, so everyone showed their sincerity without realizing it. We had a great time drinking to the point where we couldn't bear to say goodbye. The next time I come to this village, I will visit Kyeoncheon Gate first. It's not Kyeonsaemun, it's Kyeonyangmun. Ah, our Cheonyeong Gate Gokso Hyop. I definitely remembered it. Gokso Hyop are our drinking buddies from today. Gokso could not hide his joy when he was told that he would be his drinking buddy from today. Maybe when he first approached me today, he started with the intention of sleeping with Ian at all costs. But now he was moved by the term drinking buddy. And you can't go around flirting with random women until we see each other again. I also do martial arts training. See you again in great form. Okay? I understand. Surprisingly, the knight was nodding his head. Even though I didn't know, I felt like things would change starting today. He even gave me pocket money. Take care of yourselves, young lady. Thank you. Ah, the governor won't know. How much I am amazed at this moment. It wasn't admiration for Goksa, but for Ian. In one night, 5 men fell in love with her charm. Honestly, it's 6. Because I really admired her too. So we left there. The howitzers and escort soldiers watching us from a distance were sad to say goodbye. Actually, I was worried about you at first. Me? Why? I'm afraid of being deceived and manipulated by men. I'm afraid I might get excited and cause an accident. I'm afraid of being disappointed and hurt by men. When they first show up, they end up getting beat up by the sharpshooter or they fight harder and die. I thought that would happen. But it ended in a situation I never expected. If you take him to Hwangkyongak, scare him, and beat him up, will the howitzer turn like that? It feels like the sun has taken off the outer layer that the wind could not take off. So, now I have the opposite worry. What concerns? Worry about the men. If I send you away, all the men in Murim will be gone. They waste all their money and go crazy with training just to show off their strength. I got lovesickness. Ian burst out laughing. You know, right? How many tails do I have? When I saw her today, I felt like I had to give her the Baishan sword technique. The stronger she gets, the more attractive she will become. Where do we go now? When I meet a guy like Goksa, we hang out together and buy delicious food. Enjoy the spectacular scenery along the way. And I also went to see the wedding. Whose wedding? There is. I'm thinking about whether to stop the wedding or not. Why are you stopping someone else's wedding? Yes? This will be fun. I've never really been to a wedding before. Excited, she ran forward. Thinking that the image of her running toward the rising sun in the distance was like a painting, I slowly absorbed myself into the painting.